Yo, what is good, everybody? It is your boy, Golden Falls, Golden What If, whatever you want to call me, and I'm back. This is part 2 of What If Deku had a wrestling quirk. As always, if you enjoy, show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, and leave a comment down below. Make sure to show as much love as possible. I'll be honest, part 1 didn't do that well. I'm still going to finish this series. Don't you worry about it. This series will definitely get finished, especially for those who are pretty excited about it and actually really enjoyed it. I knew starting the series probably wouldn't do the best. It's very niche, definitely something you don't see every day, but I thought it was still a cool idea to do nonetheless. With that said, though, I'm not going to waste that much more of your time. Let's get right into part 2. Let's get it. Izuku Midoriya, the Beast Incarnate. He's ready to take on whatever is to come, and that's the whole point in this next training session, when All Might greets them all and tells them they're doing heroes versus villains. But Katsuki Bakugo would introduce the Beast Incarnate, Izuku Midoriya, once again, saying that he'll take on every single person right now, in which All Might is confused. Why would he want to do that? But eventually some convincing would go on, and Izuku would take on every single person in Class 1A. And of course, as Bakugo watches on, All Might pats Bakugo's shoulder and says he has to join in as well, in which Izuku watches Bakugo walk over to the other group, and he smirks, thinking that he's going to take every last person to Suplex City. All Might would tell them all that they better have some good luck, because this is going to be hell itself. In which they're all confused, but immediately when the fight starts, it's obvious why All Might says this, because Izuku Midoriya becomes out swinging. Clothesline after clothesline, lariat after lariat. Izuku picks up one, F5s one, picks up another, does an attitude adjustment. He sets one up for a spear, spears another, and it seems like there's multiple already on the ground, on the floor, gasping for air. Of course, Izuku is standing there, and he does his primal roar as he's ready to continue the beating. Everybody's completely thrown off guard. No way he's this fast. How is he this fast? And All Might then says that this could get far worse if he just, decides to do this. Turning on some sort of radio / record type of player, it's as if audio is already outputted on it, and as the audio turns on, it begins to chant. It begins to chant, Suplex City, Suplex City. And as it does, Izuku would charge forward, suplex after suplex after suplex, and he would absolutely demolish every single person there. Everybody would be laying there hurting with ribs and other things cracked, broken, and they would be gasping for air. But soon after defeat began ringing out, and Izuku Midoriya stands on top as he points at his WWE belt, All Might would call the training off, and everybody's little or minor or major injuries turn into really minor ones, being that only minor bruises on their ribs and a little bit of soreness. Everybody's completely shocked, as if the beating they just went through didn't even happen. But again, they do remember what was kind of talked about before, that Izuku's quirk works in a way that if he doesn't want them to be permanently hurt, they won't be. Because wrestling is, on the contrary, partially fake. It is scripted for entertainment. Of course, a lot of things do hurt, but with Izuku's overwhelming power, he's allowed to manipulate it in a way that that he could turn everything into minor injuries, barring that of death, of course. If someone gets severely injured, as in like breaks their neck or something like that, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult in terms of that sort of change in reality. But in terms of just severe, or not super severe, but cracked ribs, broken arm, he can more or less change that to just bruises or soreness. With all that said, though, the training would then end, but All Might would tell all of them that they could get their own training all in together later today, when he's going to host a bit of a training session without Izuku. He then admits that he knew Izuku would do this, and he knew that Izuku would absolutely dominate every last one of them. At the end of the day, he did train with All Might himself, and so did Bakugo. But they ask how Bakugo didn't get far ahead, but he says that Izuku is in a field of his own, that he truly has a quirk that is perfect for him, and on top of that, has done his due diligence in terms of getting stronger and better and faster. And everybody does think about that. Like, they didn't really train that much with their quirks. Maybe if they did, they could have been like Izuku. But even All Might says that you could have trained as much as possible. And frankly, you probably still wouldn't be on the level that Izuku is currently at. All Might would then say that that doesn't matter right now. It's time for them to get better and get faster and get stronger all together. But Izuku is sent off for the rest of the day, and eventually it would become to the very next day, and everybody comes to class pretty tired. But Aizawa would tell everybody that they have pretty good news. They're going to actually be doing some rescue training, in which, surprisingly enough, this would excite Izuku. Izuku would be happy to hear this, because he actually wants to try out some new types of rescue facility type things, because he's always about brute force. I mean, he knows that part of being a hero is rescuing people, and he does idolize All Might to a certain extent. So this would be good for him, and this is good for him for something that he wants to learn on his own as well. So when Aizawa takes everybody to the USJ, he's excited to see what's to come, and he's excited to see what's going on. But quickly he would realize that his little happiness for wanting to learn more about rescue training would come to a halt, because when they're greeting Pro Hero 13 and everybody's talking about how cool this is going to be, villains begin to arrive, and as these villains arrive, Izuku's anger would fluctuate massively, and he would look at Aizawa saying that those are no fake villains, huh? And Aizawa nods his head, and Izuku is pissed. Because Izuku wanted to learn more about rescue training, wanted to do some rescuing, maybe test his limits at lifting up buildings and stuff, but now he can't. Now they have to deal with these stupid ass villains. Izuku would be so mad that when Aizawa dives in to fight, Izuku would dive in as well, charging in and beginning to land clothesline after clothesline after clothesline on every single one of the villains there, and every clothesline would knock every single one of them out. Aizawa would kind of be smirking as they're fighting, because he can tell that Izuku not only is doing most of the work, but at the same time, he's just proud of the fact that this kid takes this thing very seriously. And frankly, not even as seriously as Aizawa has seen just yet. Because once Izuku sees the main culprit of the reason why they're all here, Izuku would be so pissed that he would tell everybody that he demands darkness, and that he demands one thing. He points at Shigaraki, and he tells him he'll see him in a hell in a cell. And as the lights would go dim and the lights would go out entirely, even everybody would say this is odd. I mean, it's daylight outside and there's windows, but it's like the sun has now turned off for Izuku. But as they all think this is some party trick, no, it's not. Lightning strikes and a gong can be heard. Dong, dong, and everybody is confused. What the hell is going on? And Izuku would begin walking out holding an urn, and the one and only Katsuki Bakugo would introduce not Izuku Midoriya, the beast incarnate, but Izuku Midoriya, the Undertaker. Izuku would walk out, and Shigaraki, the Nomu, and even Kurogiri can be seen stuck in a giant cell, and they're confused. What's going on? What's happening? As all the lights turn off once again, Izuku would disappear, no longer in front of anybody. He's actually not in sight. But then the lights would turn off once again, and then turn back on. Bright lights shining everywhere, and Izuku would appear in the ring. Different outfit and all, but the title wrapped around his waist, and his eyes pure white. Izuku would immediately run at the Nomu as the Nomu tries to fight Izuku off, but Izuku would pick him up and bring him for his last ride. pile driving him right into the canvas, sending him underneath as fire would erupt from underneath the stage itself. Izuku would look at Shigaraki charging forward, and Shigaraki tries to touch him, but he can't, as he able to kite the hands of Shigaraki and put him in a choke slam. Immediately, Shigaraki feels that his bones, all his bones feel like they're cracking, breaking, and he can't move. Kurogiri tries to portal him out of there, but as Kurogiri opens a portal, Izuku reaches through the portal, immediately grabbing Kurogiri and grabbing his metal body, and begins to slam him on the ground over and over and over again, completely putting him out of commission as he throws Kurogiri, breaking the Hell in Cell, throwing him out of the ring. And Izuku would follow up, picking up Shigaraki one last time and hitting him with a tombstone pile driver. He would put his hands over his chest and tell him to rest in peace. As a count of 3 would sing off, and Shigaraki and the Nomu would lay there completely unable to move. And, well, obviously the Nomu's underneath the ring, but after the ring and the lights would turn off and it would come back up, everything would be cleared out, villains all over the ground, but all of them unconscious entirely. Izuku would appear once again by everybody standing all beside them, and everybody would be completely shocked. Aizawa gets all the villains in cuffs, including Shigaraki, including Kurogiri, and luckily the other heroes would eventually arrive to help out, including All Might. But All Might would see the carnage, and he knows exactly who did this. It was the one and only, and of course Katsuki Bakugo would intervene. He would say, Izuku Midoriya, saying that the reigning, defending, undisputed WWE champion is the winner. And everybody stands up and cheers, and Izuku can feel the power in the cheers itself, as if he's, obviously extremely powered and empowered by the fact that everybody is enjoying the performance. But this ain't no performance. All of the bodies on the ground are truly hurt. Shigaraki with multiple broken ribs, broken arms, Kurogiri completely out of commission, the Nomu beaten so bad that shock absorption didn't even matter in the first place. And frankly, that's all it was. Everybody realizes though that Izuku has like this minor bit of reality warping. It's not necessarily reality warping, but if enough people believe in what he's doing, if enough people truly think that he's powerful enough and that he's strong, well, let's just say that's exactly what Izuku can portray, and that's exactly what Izuku can do. He can turn things into Hell in a Cell, can turn things into an environment that only he would thrive in. Defeating Shigaraki, defeating everybody there. The villains are captured, and that's one thing that they no longer have to worry about. Shigaraki, Kurogiri, and many others now captive, all for one, is sitting there, wondering how and what he should do next. He didn't plan for someone like this. He didn't plan for this supposed person to be able to walk through and defeat everybody. Initially, he thinks it's All Might. He really does. But then he would reconsider that there's no way that it was All Might. All Might was too hurt. It must have been a brand new student, maybe another hero he didn't know about. He's not sure, but damn sure he'll find out. And Izuku Midoriya, well, he'll want him to find out, because that is the type of person Izuku is. With all that said though, Izuku would now look forward to the very next part of his journey, and that is the UA Sports Festival. And the UA Sports Festival is something that he'll be excited about tenfold, because that's another audience and a broadcast that he can get everybody to not only enjoy the entertainment, but on top of that, give him even more strength and power, because everybody there will believe. And you could believe that, because he's going to wreck everybody and leave. After some time, it would finally be, well, obviously time for the UA Sports Festival. Of course, they have to wait on it a little bit, because there was a whole, attack on the USJ thing. But now they're all ready for the next part, of UA. Everybody is ready, set up, and everybody is excited for this sports festival. But the person that does the speech would surprise everybody, being that of Katsuki Bakugo. Izuku would stand there as Bakugo would wonder if he should bring up Izuku. I mean, like, Izuku deserves it the most, right? But, of course, Izuku would just stand there. He wouldn't say a word. And eventually, one word would come out of Izuku's mouth, and that would be, go. He says that in his own way, saying that he doesn't care. He could take this glory for now, but trust me that he's going to get the glory back. Bakugo would give his speech and would say with confidence that he's going to win, but of course, maybe he doesn't even believe that, and to a hard extent, he really doesn't. But nonetheless, Izuku is ready for the first portion of the UA Sports Festival, being that of the obstacle course race. And this is simple, very simple. He runs through without even a hitch, and he's easily able to crush and absolutely trip up and throw the robots that are in his way initially. But he does fall behind in some of the speed portions of things in terms of traveling across long ropes and ditches and stuff like that. But he is able to brute force his way through the mine section of the obstacle course race because of how strong he is and how durable he is. And he's able to just squeak out a second place advancement. It seems like Bakugo was actually able to catch up and pass him up. But of course, that really wouldn't matter to Izuku. This isn't even his ballpark. And when he learns of the cavalry battle, it might not be his ballpark, but everybody around him wouldn't want to even come close to him. So everybody that joined his team would just automatically win. Some people were honestly too scared to join his team because of just his presence alone. But of course, the people like Ochaku Uraka, the people that felt comfortable enough, right? Tokiyami, Meihatsume, all of them would easily pass. And the reason for that is because, like I said, nobody would even want to come near Izuku. I mean, he is not only terrifying, but they heard the rumors of him absolutely dominating at the USJ, defeating and destroying every last person there. So there ain't no way they're going near that guy. And that's just the fact of it. And that's probably a good idea because I wouldn't want to go near him either. So the cavalry battle will be smooth sailing for him and his team. He would pass on through, wouldn't really worry about much, and they would go straight to the 1v1s. The 1v1s on the other hand would obviously lean in Izuku's favor, but would be exciting for Izuku. The first matchup would be against Satoshi Shinso, and this matchup would all start with Izuku being introduced by the one and only Katsuki Bakugo. My name is Katsuki Bakugo. You may know me as the #1 student from the UA entrance exam, but I am also the advocate for the reigning, defending, undisputed WWE champion, Izuku Midoriya. As he says all this, everyone stands there in complete, utter awe as Izuku comes out to his beast incarnate music, and everybody hears the wow, bump, 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 bump. And as everyone hears it, you can feel the stadium beginning to pump up as they watch Izuku walk out. It's as if there's like this feeling all around that everybody knows something crazy is about to happen. Shinso stands there, staring as Izuku walks out. As he steps onto the stage, jumping on in his vintage fashion, immediately fire would become raising out of the stage, and Shinso wouldn't even know what to say. This is absolutely terrifying. Izuku would be ready to go, as Shinso would begin talking smack, but Izuku, in his beast incarnate way, wouldn't even be saying a word. All he can think about is destruction. All he can think about is wrecking everybody and leaving. And even if Shinso puts him under his brainwash, who says the crowd won't draw him directly out of it? And as Bakugo would sit back in the crowd, he would smirk at everybody in Class 1A and begin a chant once again. Suplex City, do 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 do, Suplex City. Of course, not many people would like Shinso because of the fact that he kind of brainwashed a bunch of people to get the way to get what he wanted. So once the whole crowd was saying Suplex City, it was over. The furthest thing from over. He began suplexing after suplex Shinso, as it would get kind of ugly until Shinso was thrown out of the ring, and Izuku would stare at everybody and give his primal roar out, and everybody would chant for Izuku. Everyone saying, Izuku Midoriya, do 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 do. As everyone chants his name, chanting Midoriya, chanting Izuku, chanting the Beast Incarnate, anything you can think of, everybody is excited. And this just makes Izuku even stronger. But there's one person watching. All for one. He's watching this and he's kind of trembling. He's shaking just a little bit. How? How does someone like him, how does someone like this even exist? He can't believe it. He can't even bring his mind, his being to know that someone like this exists, because it doesn't make sense. But as it cuts back to Izuku, Izuku's walking through the halls and he's about to come out of his waiting room and he's donning a brand new persona, someone different. I mean, if y'all know, y'all know. You will know by the reference here. Izuku goes to walk out and he opens his door from his dressing room and he has security guards surrounding him. And music begins to play, something simple, but it seems like it's absolutely terrifying. And the audience itself is getting a weird feeling to chant Goldberg, Goldberg, as he's walking out with his security guards for his next match against Todoroki. Well, someone stops him. That's Endeavor. Of course, Izuku would look at him weirdly, and immediately someone else would approach him, and that would be Bakugo once again, saying that if he wants to speak with Izuku, he needs to speak with him, because he is the advocate for the one and only, the reigning, defending WWE champion, Izuku Midoriya. Of course, Endeavor would then threaten Bakugo, but as he does this, Izuku would walk over to Endeavor and tell him to shut his mouth, or he's next. And he better watch out, because he doesn't want to be next. Of course, this would terrify Endeavor, send chills down his spine, but he wouldn't understand why. He's just a kid. Why is he scared of him? And Izuku would bring over Bakugo and put him behind him and would say to never threaten his advocate ever again, or he might even take him to Suplex City. He walks out as the music continues to play and chants ring through, Goldberg, Goldberg, and all the pyrotechnics can be seen. Everything going crazy, the mist, and he immediately would breathe out all of this mist and this like sparkly yellow color, and it's crazy. Everyone is chanting like crazy, and Todoroki just stands there. He's standing there dormant, serious, but at the same time he's terrified at what he's currently watching. Izuku would get to the stage, and when the fight would begin, Todoroki would unleash as much as possible, ice after ice, but it would be broken through easily by Izuku by just him shoulder tackling the icebergs that he's being created, and Izuku would easily break through. As he breaks through though, well, he would begin to tell Todoroki, why the hell is he not using his full strength? I mean, this is boring. He sucks. And he would look at the crowd and be like, hey everybody, Todoroki sucks. Everyone would say, you suck. You suck. And everybody would begin chanting this, and Todoroki would tell them to shut up. And Izuku would say that if he wants to really have a chance, or I mean even a minor one, you gotta turn up the heat just a little bit. Todoroki wouldn't listen of it, but as he can see that Izuku is breaking through everything, and Izuku tells him that if he doesn't use his full power, that he ain't going to recover him. He's going to destroy every bone in his body. What is he so afraid of? That's his quirk. Stop being an idiot. Izuku would run forward, ready to lariat him, but a blast of fire would then scorch Izuku, and Izuku would smirk. Finally! Izuku would immediately charge right back at Todoroki through the fire and through the ice and spear him. Todoroki would be on the ground and he would be screaming in pain. He'd be hurting, and eventually Izuku would get him up for the very last move, his vintage jackhammer, slamming him to the ground as he holds him up for a good 15 seconds, and he pins him. 1, 2, 3, and it's over. Just like that. Of course, Izuku would get chants of Izuku, and Midoriya, and many other things. And as he continues his reign of dominance throughout the UA Sports Festival, he'd fight Tenya Ida, defeating him easily as well, and even starring out brand new personas as he walks out, this time as the Tribal Chief, the true one, the true only, as he tells the crowd to acknowledge him. As he spears, Superman punches, spears again, defeating Tenya Ida and sending him off to wherever he needs to go next. Izuku Midoriya is looking forward to the finals, and the finals would be against Katsuki Bakugo. Izuku would stand there, no advocate by himself, but this time he would take on a brand new persona, a persona that fits the chance of everybody that is loving him right now, turning from heel to face as he waves a hand in front of his face saying, "You can't see me," becoming the persona of the one and only John Cena. Everybody would begin chanting, "Cena sucks, Cena sucks," and everybody would get ready as the John Cena version of Izuku Midoriya would begin absolutely obliterating Katsuki Bakugo. Bakugo would try to fight back, use his explosions at full power, and don't get me wrong, Bakugo is strong here. He's been training with Izuku, preparing for this, but there is no chance that he can beat him. He can only show out as much as possible. Izuku would begin to shoulder tackle, eventually picking him up and putting him on the ground for his vintage 5-knuckle shuffle. He lands the 5-knuckle shuffle and gets ready for the FU, or New Age people know it as the attitude adjustment, landing it, pinning him, but this time Bakugo at a 2 count kicks out. Izuku is shocked. He can't believe it. How did he kick out? There's no way. Izuku could hear the chants of Bakugo ring out as he kicks out, and anger would flood through him, changing his persona once again back to a heel. He would begin pounding the ground, pounding over and over, and he begins to punch his fist into the ground as well as it makes dents in that said ground. As Bakugo stands up, Izuku hits him with the RKO. Everybody's standing there. No way. He can't. No. 1, 2, 3. Katsuki Bakugo has been defeated. Just like that, Izuku Midoriya reigns supreme at the UA Sports Festival, but he has a lot to look forward to in the near future. The UA Sports Festival may be over, and everything may have gone his way, but all he can think about are the new challenges that are ahead of him, and all he can think about is what is to come. And the next thing to come is the internships. He looks forward to the internships because when he gets to school the following week, he would have a pile of them. Tons and tons and tons and tons of them. He would have plenty to pick from, plenty to choose from. But of course, he would decide on one person and one person only. He would decide on the one and only Sir Night-Eye. Someone that he knows All Might respects. Someone that even he respects all the time. So he'll make sure that he goes with him, and he'll make sure that, well, he shows the utmost respect for Sir Night-Eye himself. And that's what he's excited for. He's going to work with Sir Night-Eye and maybe even Mirio Togata, in which he has a hunch that is the one for all user that All Might decided to choose. Maybe he'll even challenge him. But with that said, that's what's to come, but that will be in part 3 of What If Deku Had a Wrestling Quirk. And if you enjoy, show some love. Leave a like, leave a sub, and leave a comment down below. All that good stuff. and I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.